And that does not include the Caribbean countries. What is this new visa requirement? Who is going to have to pay a little more? And when I say a little more, for some people, it's going to be a lot more to enter the US, what that visa looks like, how long is it good for, and who's exempt. Let me get into what it is. So it's actually called the US Visa Integrity Fee. Whoo, child, it's just something that tickles me about US and integrity right now. That anyway, so I like to call it the invisible wall, right? I like to call it the wall that we didn't know was going to be built and we cannot see. But it is definitely a wall, and it is meant to keep people out, even though that's not what they're saying. And I'll get into what they're saying in a second. So it goes into effect October next week, and it is a new $250 fee added. Let me say that again. A new $250 fee added to the cost of most non-immigration US visas already. So there are a lot of countries that there's already a fee. There's already a fee that has been added. This is in over and above that fee. And so it's going to apply to your visa per issued, not per application. So just like some countries like Brazil, right? Brazil just implemented or reinstated their new visa program at the top of this year, and Americans have to pay $80 for a 10-year
visa. Have $2,000 in your bank account? Then don't even think about going to Brazil. There is a new rule that requires travelers from the United States to show Brazil that they have at least $2,000 in their bank account. There are additional requirements like filling out an online application and pay $80 for a visa that will allow entry into the country for 10 years. You must also present your arrival and departure times in order to be approved for that visa. The Brazilian government said it would consider lifting the requirements only if the United States agrees to loosen its own stringent visa requirements for Brazilian citizens. But since that hasn't happened, be ready to pull out a month's worth of bank statements if you decide to travel to Brazil.
So it's good for, in and out trips, but you have to have that visa in order to enter, and you have to pay $80, and you have to show that you have at least $2,000 in your bank account. This was supposedly in retaliation of the fees that they knew was coming they had already been implemented for people from Brazil who traveled to the US paying certain fees. And I'm sure they were anticipating this increase. So it was signed into law on July 4th of 2025 under the big, beautiful bill. And how they have positioned it, that it's designed to recover costs related to visa overstays and enforcements. Yeah. When you hear more about the countries, you'll question if that is indeed the case, right? So who will have to pay? Anyone who is from a country that is not on the visa waiver program. So there are certain countries that have visa waivers, just like for Americans that travel to certain countries. That list is going to get shorter as the years go by. But like right now, we can go to European countries without paying a visa fee. But if we want to go to certain countries in Africa, we have to pay a fee to go. If we want to go to Brazil, we have to pay a fee. So there are certain countries where there's no fees to get a visa to enter the United States. And it also applies to anyone who is applying for a U.S. non-immigration visa. So tourists, students, and worker visas from the countries that I'm about to go over will have to pay the fee. But for the sake of this $250 integrity fee, that includes the H-1B visa, the L visa, the O visa, and there's a couple others. And I'm going to go through the entire list. mostly the entire list of countries that will have to pay, but we will go through who's going to be exempt first. Those are people who have the waiver, the visa waiver program, and they can travel to the US for tourism or business up to 90 days. They will have to fill out something like we have to fill out now to go to London, a ETA, a electronic travel authorization, electronic travel authorization. And you literally have to do a picture, you have to send it in, you have to get approved before you can even get on a plane to fly to the UK. It's called the ESTA to come to the US. And it just means you've gotten prior approval, but it's not a visa. And I'm sure there's a cost to that as well. Who is exempt? Countries that are mostly white. So let's just go through some of the exempt countries. Australia, Austria, Belgium, Brunei, Chile, Croatia, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Japan, Latvia, Liechtenstein, I always get this one, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Monaco, not Morocco, Monaco, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, right now, Portugal, Qatar, San Marino, Singapore, Slovakia, Slovenia, South Korea, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, and the United Kingdom. But the countries that are going to be affected: China, India, Russia, Brazil, Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Philippines, Egypt, Iran, Thailand, South Africa, Ukraine, Argentina, Colombia, Kenya, Morocco, Peru, Venezuela, Ghana, Uganda, Tanzania, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Algeria, Angola. And that, again, does not include the Caribbean countries. But what do they all have in common? Besides them not being part of the waiver program, it is not hard to tell.